afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 5th annual 40 Acres Founders Pitch Competition. I'm Dr. Melissa Jackson-Burns, and I'm the Senior Academic Program Coordinator for the Herb Kelleher Entrepreneurship Center, which sponsors the 40 Acres Founders Pre-Accelerator Program. Our program supports students from across the 40 acres in entrepreneurship. For the pitch competition you'll see today, we have offered founders the opportunity this semester to study potential customers, improve their product, establish product market fit, and position their product for success within the market. They have been exploring topic areas important to establishing product market fit for their startup concepts, including interviewing potential customers, developing their value propositions, examining possible customer segments, and conducting market and competitor research. Our founders today represent colleges from across the university, including the Macomb School of Business, the Moody College of Communication, the Cockrell School of Engineering, the College of Natural Sciences, the College of Fine Arts, and the College of Liberal Arts. Today, we'll start with 4 finalist pitches. These will be from our 4 40 Acres founders who scored highest in our preliminary judging round. Each founder will have 10 minutes to present their pitch, followed by 10 minutes of Q&A from our judges. And upon conclusion of all of these 4 pitches, our finalist judges will move to a room to deliberate. And then we have a real treat for you this year. We are introducing an elevator pitch competition into our proceedings. So after our 4 finalists pitch, we'll have 13 student founders from the 40 Acres Founders cohort who will give 2-minute elevator pitches to compete for an additional prize. Once we have completed the elevator pitch competition, we'll announce today's results, and we'll be awarding 7 non-dilutive grant funding prizes. In first place for our final round, we'll have $10,000, second place $5,000, third place $3,000, fourth place $2,000, and our elevator pitch winner will get $1,000. Additionally, you'll have the opportunity today to select 2 of your own winners. We'll have an Audience Choice Award for your favorite finalist pitch, as well as an award for your favorite elevator pitch. Before we begin our pitches, I'd like to say a few thank yous. So first, thank you to our founders. You've demonstrated passion and fortitude this semester about solving problems. You've been driven to succeed, and you all deserve our thanks and congratulations for your hard work and your success. Next, thank you to our graduate assistants. 9 graduate assistants have supported our founders this semester with the execution of customer discovery strategies. Next, our mentors. We've had an amazing group of mentors from the community to support our founders by using their experiences to help our students navigate market research. And next, a big thank you to our guest speakers. We have weekly seminars that have hosted guest speakers for our students this semester, and we've had guest speakers from the faculty and from our community partners. And our guest speakers have helped our founders to better understand how to apply different aspects of customer discovery to their individual startup concepts, and they provided an overview of common frameworks that are helpful for validating a problem or solution. Next, a big thank you to our individual donors to the 40 Acres Founders Pre-Accelerator Program. These donors have funded seats in the Pre-Accelerator Program in perpetuity, which means that they have enabled our founders to launch startups from a position of strength and confidence. These contributions will support many generations of Texas entrepreneurs and will have a significant impact on each founder's success. Our 40 Acres Founders donors are Frank and Gwen Gordon, Stephen Maker, Kim and Michael Tucci, Brian Kruver, Jay Steinfeld, Thomas and Libby Matai, and Ed and Connie Easley. And then last, but certainly not least, I'd like to thank all of our judges. We have an amazing panel of judges today, both for our finals round and for our elevator pitch competition. I'd like to take a few moments to invite these judges onto the stage with me so that you can introduce yourselves to our audience.
Nick Arab, co-founder, CEO of Pattern Bioscience, a med tech startup here in Austin. We've raised around $70 million, so I've had to do a lot of pitching, and I'm looking forward to being a judge on a pitch competition rather than the pitch.
Hi, I'm Jim McAllister, ex-Longhorn. I run a private equity land development company called Rock Spring. We're headquartered in Houston, but also have locations in Austin and San Antonio. Glad to be here.
Hi, I'm Hema Reddy. I'm the founder and CEO of practicum. We make vegan egg substitutes that are sold all over the country. Thank you for having me.
Hi, I'm Mark Rossler. I'm chairman and CEO of CMG Worldwide out of Beverly Hills, California. And I'm honored to be here. We're in the intellectual property business and looking forward to being a judge today. Thank you.
My name is Kurt Wilkin. I run a recruiting firm called Hire Better and an investment firm called Bee Cave Capital. We've invested in about 200 companies, including brands like Tecovas, which you guys have heard of, and Waterloo Water. And I want to give a really quick life lesson today. This person might not necessarily win, but somebody did me a favor, helped me in a door today, and one of the pitchers. And so you never know who you're going to run into. If you do something nice for people, it always seems to come around. So I just want to say thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kalyan Banerjee, co-founder and chief growth officer at Lumency. We are about a 100-people company doing IP consulting, 30 in Austin and 17 in New Delhi. And personally, I also do a lot of startup investing, so I love to be here. And I've invested in about 55 startups so far. Good luck to all the pitchers, and see you there soon.
Thank you again, judges. And on behalf of the center, I would like to thank everyone I mentioned, everyone here. Thank you for donating your time and support to this cohort of students. So, it is time to get started with the pitches. First up, we have Brandon Doan.
Hello everyone, my name is Brandon Doan, and my company ECAP is related to electroencephalograms, otherwise known as EEGs. All right, so an EEG is one of the most efficient methods at recognizing neurological disorders, especially epilepsy, and the big problem with it has a lot of time limitations, and this causes epilepsy clinics to lose $15 million due to availability constraints. In addition, they are losing over $500 million due to not accessing all the available markets. And as a result, among the 3.5 million people with epilepsy, only a third of them are getting treatment and getting an EEG, and that doesn't include the additional 50 million individuals with sleep disorders and tumors that also need an EEG. And this is due to the fact that the time it takes to repair an EEG takes longer than the EEG itself. And from my prior experience as EEG technician, the actual time to run an EEG machine is only around 30 minutes, with the preparation time taking upwards of 70 minutes or more. That's more than double that time. And the appointment windows, as a result, can last upwards to 90 minutes or even 2 hours. And this slide represents the more detailed manual approach of what it takes to prepare an EEG. And the problem is that we need to measure and mark the head at 20 different locations or more, and then clean the scalp on those 20 different markings. And at the very end, we add on the electrodes, each individually, one at a time. Now, there are competitors in the field that help with removing that entire process and just get the electrodes on the head. The big problem with them is that they are rarely utilized because they're not adjustable. We all have different head shapes and sizes, and without an adjustable frame, without precise electrode placements, the EEG readings won't be as accurate. And another big problem with a lot of the competitors is that they don't give access to the scalp. And this is a huge problem because imagine if you put the electrode cap on the head, if there is a problem with one electrode, you would have to remove the entire device in order to fix one mistake and start over. In addition, if there's any liquid problems such as excess sweating, or maybe you put too much cleaning solution, that will make an EEG impossible to interpret. And when taking the limitations of our competitors into account, our company envisions a device that has an adjustable frame with complete access to the scalp, and that yellow layer you see being removable once the electrodes are in place. And this is a benefit because imagine you're working with non-Caucasian hair or very thick hair. This gives it space so that if it was a cap, it would compress the hair and stop it from having direct access to the scalp, and that's why we wanted to remove that layer. In addition, we wanted to make sure the electrodes are separate from the EEG, from the cap, because if one electrode is broken, which is done in many other EEGs, you would have to replace the entire cap, and that's why we wanted to keep it separate. And when taking this into account into the target markets, the total addressable market, including both the United States and Europe, is around 11,000 neurological clinics, which is a conservative estimate, and that accounts for the $100 million you see on the top. But when we go towards the servable addressable market, I mainly wanted to focus on small epilepsy clinics similar to ones I've worked with in the past because they tend to focus on buying these very cheap, small devices that are cost effective rather than giant, expensive tech. And this number being 2 million is still a very, very conservative estimate because that only accounts for the 260 clinics throughout the United States that are under the National Association of Epilepsy Centers. And it doesn't include the additional 4,000 hospitals that also have EEG capabilities. And when looking at the EEG device market, it turns out that around by 2030, it's expected to grow by $1 billion, which is a 10% growth rate. And surprisingly, EEG caps, despite being rarely utilized, are 40% of that market share. And they're only utilized in emergency situations or with small children. So that means if we are able to replace the manual process that we usually use for EEG preparation, there's still a huge potential for market growth in this area. And when taking this account in designing the business model, we ultimately decided on a business-to-business aspect where we either directly sell to the epilepsy clinics through medical liaisons or indirectly through medical distributors. And even though the EEG technicians are the end users of the product, the actual customers, the people purchasing the device, would be the epilepsy clinics. And as for how we plan to market to those epilepsy clinics, we're going to use a similar strategy to other EEG companies where they either use a combination of medical liaisons or go to medical conventions to showcase their device. But in addition, we recognize that we need to maintain a relationship with the doctors or the neurologists in those institutions because it's almost necessary to have support from those physicians in order to have the hospital to approve of any device we're trying to sell to them. And before I get into finances, I need to talk about the upcoming cost. As for the device itself, it's likely we're going to use a substance called silicone polyurethane, and that is going to be utilized because it's flexible for the adjustable frame, but in addition, it's non-toxic and FDA compliant. And when we take into consideration of labor cost, the metal connectors we need for the electrodes, or any other components such as the Velcro tapes, that comes at around an approximate unit cost of $23.50. And when we consider the unit price of such a device, we consider about $500, which puts us on the cheaper end of EEG caps. And the reason why we chose the cheaper end is because if we're selling to those small epilepsy clinics, they tend to have a smaller budget to work with, so that would fit with our target markets. And so when bringing that towards the actual financial projections, despite being on the cheaper end, that's still a $470 profit margin. And when we include the upfront cost of, let's say, FDA compliance, consulting with law firms, and engineering, that would still make us net positive by around the 20-month period. And with a somewhat estimate, it could be around $300,000 of initial cash flow in order to survive that 20-month period. And keep in mind, this is assuming we only access around 10 clinics during that initial sale. And keep in mind, so if we're able to save those clinics 40 minutes on average, that saves them around 2,500 hours on EEGs, which contributes to $15 million in saved expenses. In addition, by opening up 1,800 additional appointments from that time saved, that contributes to the $500 million I mentioned previously. And as we near the end of the presentation, I want you to keep in mind that epilepsy is an incurable neurological disorder. Out of the patients that were treated, 1.5 million of them are unable to recover. This means that they consistently need us to monitor them for EEGs every few months or every year to see how the epilepsy progresses. But in addition to that, among the people who were diagnosed, 25% of them still were unable to go treatment and they progressed in their epilepsy. So they definitely need EEGs frequently. And with knowing that we have a growing aging population, I suspect that the amount of people who need EEG is steadily going to increase as time gets on. And as for future steps that we plan to do, for our first goal, we're trying to raise around $20,000 for IP consulting, general consulting, and and for engineering firms. And because we're on the ideation phase, we're trying to focus on both prototyping and design in order to get the product off the ground. In addition, I'm trying to seek advisement or mentorship regarding FDA compliance for a device that would be near a Category 1, Class 1 for FDA. And if you are interested in talking with me, here's a QR code for my LinkedIn, and I would like to appreciate everyone who came here to see us pitch. Thank you so much for your time.
Hi, my name is Philip Beck, and I'm the founder of Bobo, co-living made simple. Now, imagine coming home. Sorry, it's off. Now, imagine coming home after a long day of work to find piles of dirty dishes, overflowing trash cans, and dirty toilet stains left by your roommates. Especially for a young digital generation, the awkwardness of having to confront your roommates often outweighs the mess itself. And oftentimes, these sort of conflict eat away at your friendship with your roommates and go on to ruin entire college experiences. This explains why roommate problem was a shared experience amongst 80% of UT students that we surveyed, with the main source of conflict coming from roommates not doing their chores. And this is a problem that goes unaddressed in the $258 billion co-living market, with a 30% annual growth rate, fueled by the global trend of young adults moving into cities. This encapsulates 19 million college roommates across the US, as well as 78 million young adult roommates that make up more than a quarter of all renters in the country. Currently, popular habit tracking apps solely focus on individual productivity, failing to provide the necessary tools for a group of roommates collaboration. Now, popular household management apps like Cozy is mostly built for families, have a very steep learning curve, and as you can see, their outdated design further hinders their adoption amongst college students. So, as most of you guys can relate with, college students currently resort to whiteboards. But whiteboards are such a hassle to have to manually update every single time you use them, and I can personally guarantee that they don't last more than 2 weeks of active usage. As college students struggling with this problem ourselves, we built Bobo, focusing on our simple and minimalistic design with fun, sassy notifications like Duolingo, so you can forget those awkward reminders or passive-aggressive comments and fully focus on living your best college experience. Now, to further build this good roommate behaviors, we're currently developing a shared pet system where you and your roommates collectively take care of an adorable little creature. The only catch is the health and the happiness of the pet directly correlates with the cleanliness of your apartment. Now with Bobo, instead of saying, "Dude, can you please throw out the trash for once? I've been doing it by myself for the past month." Instead, you can say, "Hey, I noticed our Pikachu's been starving a little recently. Could you mind maybe checking out the app, please?" Introducing a much more fun and non-confrontational way that roommates can track and manage their chores. Now, as we expand, we're planning to implement the same psychological techniques that apps like Instagram, TikTok, and mobile games use to keep users engaged by ensuring friendly competitions, giving users streaks and reward system, and building a tenant community to further reinforce this good roommate behavior. After months of coding, we took our app to the heart of UT Austin, and we wanted like a fun and creative way to reach out to our future students, future users, which is why we decided to sell fried potatoes in the middle of Speedway. And through this, we were able to talk to more than 5,000 students, with many of them giving us positive comments like, "Oh my God, I wish I had this app when I was a freshman," or "Oh my God, I know someone who could totally use this app." And through selling our fried potatoes, we were able to make $1,700 while getting a pre-registration list of 721 students that strongly resonated with our mission. We also discovered that as roommates were more organized with their chores, the much more likely they were to release at the same apartment, and with increased roommate satisfaction. And we took this finding to 21 leasing offices 21 apartment complexes in West Campus, and we found leasing offices offering to help promote our product to their tenants 100% for free. Moreover, we're able to connect with Miss Allie Waters, a regional director of Landmark Properties, which is one of the largest student housing companies in the US, where she told us common problems that leasing offices had to go through, such as resolving roommate conflicts, additional costs from property damage, and needing to boost tenant retention rates. And Ms. Waters saw great potential in different ways Bobo could help her leasing offices by integrating users through our mobile application. Introducing Bobo Enterprise, the first tenant-centric property management solution that connects that unlocks additional value to both leasing offices and tenants. Current enterprise solutions solely focus on leasing offices, which inevitably leads to a lack of focus and support for the tenant-facing app. Just a few months ago, I had to call my leasing office to figure out how I could release at their apartment because their tenant portal was so difficult to work with. But not Bobo. Taking our bottom-up approach and first building a solution that resonates with tenants, we can improve the fundamental processes of sending and keeping track of your maintenance requests, splitting utilities and bills with your roommates, and of course, trying to release at your same apartments. Moreover, Bobo Enterprise could provide a more modern communication channel for leasing offices that's a lot more effective than outdated emails or opt-in SMS messaging that often gets marked as spam. So by sending important reminders like, hey, it's time to pay rent, or don't forget to leave the faucet dripping during cold storms, leasing offices could also save valuable time and money through the integration of our enterprise software. And suggested by Miss Waters, And suggested by Ms. Waters, leasing offices could provide incentives like gift cards or even discount on rent to good, clean tenants, further promoting that good roommate behavior while potentially saving them thousands of dollars in extermination, cleaning, and pest control fees, as well as tenant recompensations, which could easily be prevented when roommates simply keep their apartment clean. Now, imagine as a Bobo user, you graduate college and move into a new city. Bobo integrated leasing offices could provide you with special deals based on your proven track record of good tenant history, very similar to a good driver's discount, but for tenants. As leasing offices attract these good tenants, they can build a community of responsible and happy residents that produces a positive feedback cycle of reduced costs, improved experiences, and thriving community. By integrating the entire vertical of co-living from roommates to leasing offices, we're not just looking to solve a chore management problem. We're creating a better way to live together. Our technical team of founders built our app. From idea to product, which has recently been approved by the App Store and the Google Play Store, and is currently in beta testing with 50 active users of our core founding team and our roommates. Moreover, with our CMO, Celeste Rios, literally starting to work at a leasing office to provide additional insights for our startup, we're planned to launch on August 26, 2024, which is the beginning of next semester, to meet the deadline of the partnership with Landmark Properties to have our app production ready for people to download and use. Thank you. We're Bobo, and we're making co-living simpler.
$3,527,396. According to a study conducted by the Rhodium Group in partnership with Bloomberg News, this figure represents the number of pounds of CO2 emissions released into the atmosphere every single second. Right there and right there. 2 snaps, this times 2. Therefore, our team introduces to you Bloom, the sustainability management software that your company needs in order to turn this previous figure to 0. My name is Ruth Vigjana, Let's get started. So what exactly is the problem that companies are facing today in the sustainability space? Well, I'll name a few right now. One is the growing complexity of ESG compliance. 2 is supply chain inefficiencies. And 3, there isn't a unified platform for companies to be able to track their sustainability data. It's shocking. But let's go ahead and take a deeper dive, looking at each problem specifically. When we take a look at the growing complexity of ESG compliance, it's very simple. According to the World Business Council for Sustainable Development, there are over 2,400 ESG regulations worldwide. But the regulations that every business must adhere to vary, depending on various factors. This could be with their region, their activity type. But the point is at the end of the day, these businesses don't know what are their exact compliance obligations, which is a problem for them. In addition to this, supply chain inefficiencies have become a much more common phenomenon in recent years, ever since the COVID-19 pandemic. This can be seen in the rising amount of greenhouse gas emissions that have happened in recent years, specifically Scope 3 emissions, which are virtually impossible to measure nowadays, and only 15% of these companies report this data anyway. So it's very tough, especially when they make up 71% of our global greenhouse emissions. And lastly, our third problem, there isn't a unified platform. Right now, many companies, they'll use in-house sustainability teams, which are very expensive, external consultants, which could be even more expensive, spreadsheet solutions, and various different fragmented software solutions that aren't really cohesive together. With that being said, welcome to Bloom. Bloom is a sustainability management software that allows businesses to leverage big data and predictive analytics to do 3 main tasks. 1, we want you to be able to report or track your sustainability metrics. Afterwards, we want you to be able to report your pertinent data. And lastly, we want you to be able to forecast your future ESG performance with 2 main goals at the end of the day. 1, you want to make sure you reduce your environmental impact as a company, and 2, maximize your company's profitability, mainly by reducing your costs. And so how exactly does Bloom plan on implementing the solution? Well, specifically, let's take a look at intelligent reporting with regulatory updates. As of right now, Bloom simplifies this complex landscape of ESG regulations, mainly by aligning its functionalities with both international and regional sustainability reporting frameworks. In addition to this, we also utilize targeted web scraping, and this allows for us to be able to, in real time, update ESG regulations as they're being updated by real-time lawmakers as well. Bloom also addresses the supply chain inefficiency problems that many companies face, mainly through our data and predictive analytics dashboard. In addition to this, we have also integrated sustainable procurement analytics features into this, and this makes it a lot easier for companies to identify where are their issues in their value chain, and more importantly, how can they improve upon this. And lastly, Bloom addresses the problem of there being no uniform platform by consolidating all these various sustainability functions into one platform for sustainability tracking, reporting, and forecasting. In addition to this, our team has also built out a sustainability tuned large language model that helps you with optimizing your business strategies and helps you with helping you with your supply chain operations. And so now I'll take you through a quick demo. Starting off, we have our landing page, and once you're able to log into this page, you're able to see our overview tab. On our left-hand side, we have the reporting, analytics, and forecasting tabs. Here, with the data already being uploaded, you can generate a report, which was just now there. Here, you can take a look at the different reporting techniques that we have, and from there, you can now move on to your analytics tab. This is just an overview of your scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions, and they're broken down via various metrics. And you can see right there, scope 1, 2, and 3. But now you can also take a look at your scopes emissions in a deeper lens as well, with scope 1 emissions having its own separate tab, looking at emission sources and fuel emissions as well. From there, you can take a look at your scope 2 emissions, which are mainly derived from your utility bills, and seeing how your costs coincide with your sustainability data. And lastly, you can take a look at your scope 3 emissions as well. Right here is our sustainability tuned large language model in action. By just clicking refresh, we have a new set of recommendations being put into play for supply chain operations, and here we have a new set of data for your business strategy as well. On the right-hand side is our new ESG metric that we're currently in the process of development, and on our last side, we have our settings page, which is just known as our data aggregation slide. Specifically, you can update your scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 data. You can upload documents, and we'll take care of putting it all together in one spot. Right here, we upload a sample utility bill, which would be considered scope 2 emissions, and once we upload it, our platform is able to parse through the utility bill, and afterwards, it will tell you the impact specifically that's being made. Now we're currently in the process of developing our forecasting platform as well. This right here is the overview, taking a look at risk management platforms, and also you can take a look and set goals for yourself for the future. So go ahead, head over to our website and join the waitlist today. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our ideal buyer persona. Right now, we are targeting small and medium-sized enterprises. Keyword is enterprises. And the reason for this is because typically these companies tend to have investors and stakeholders that they need to please. And in fact, when you need more money, you need to have probably good optimized ESG data, which is exactly what we're bringing to customers, especially these small companies, or enterprises, as I should say. Additionally, we're also targeting North American and Western European businesses. The reason for this is because this is where ESG regulations hit the hardest, especially in Western Europe, where some of these regulations are mandatory. And lastly, we're targeting companies within high climate impact industries, which includes the energy sector, manufacturing sector, and also the technology sector as well. Now, when we take a look at the market opportunity, the total addressable market is every single small and medium-sized enterprise out there, which is 90% of all total businesses at $300 million, or 300 million businesses. From there, though, when we take a look at our serviceable addressable market, we see that we can address 7.9 million businesses that are both small and medium-sized enterprises that fit within North America and Western Europe, and also are in the climate impact industry range that we want. And when we take a look at the target industry, or the target buyer personas that we have set, and look at the companies that fall within this category that are looking for investment or have stakeholders that they must please, well, that comes out to around 121,000 businesses. And when I get into our pricing structure next, it's going to make much more sense. Now, when we take a look at our competitive landscape, Bloom is a significant player in this space. The reason is because not only do we provide AI solutions, track scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions, allow for predictive sustainability modeling, but most importantly, we allow for real-time data tracking. And this is through third-party integration as well. And this sets us apart because let's say, for example, you're at a manufacturing firm and you have a gas leak, and instead of waiting a whole month for your utility bill to come in and realize there was a leak, you could track your data by the days instead, and maybe solve that abnormality ahead of time. And also, because we target small and medium-sized businesses, we're looking to have a better pricing structure compared to our competitors. And now, when we take a look at our subscription-based revenue model, it makes a lot more sense. We're having our basic model, which starts off at $275 a month, and we have a more premium model, which comes at $350 a month. And the reason for this pricing plan is because we're targeting enterprises, but at the same time, this is much more cost-efficient compared to our competitors, which we found out after doing our customer interviews. When we look at these subscription model plans, we can see that the Bloom Plus plan is differentiated from this basic plan because of AI integration, the real-time data tracking, and it just has more complex features when it comes to reporting, analysis, and forecasting as well. Now, when we take a look at our 5-year financial projection, it can be seen that we have lofty goals, but I believe that we can get them. We hope to begin operations in the year 2025, which gives us the rest of this year to be able to build out our product. We hope to generate $330,000 in revenue in 2025 and $61,500 in net income in the same year as well. With the reasonable growth rate, we believe that we can hit $31 million in the year 2029, where we hope that ESG regulations are coming more and more into play, and generate $5.5 million in profit that year as well. Now, we've also gained a lot of traction as well. Since our inception of January 2023, we've completed our alpha testing last week, and we're just now beginning our beta testing. We've raised over $13,000 in non-dilutive funding, and we've also onboarded the global ESG director at Sintra, Ms. Brooke Akins, who's in the audience here today. And also, we've also done customer interviews with 18 leading firms, private equity firms. We've done interviews with firms, consulting firms. We've also done interviews with several firms that are in the sustainability space to give us a better idea of how we should go forward with our product. And lastly, when it comes to our go-to-market strategy, it's very simple. Right now, what we're trying to do is be able to establish partnerships with private equity firms. The reason for this is that we want to become the recommended ESG solution for all of their portfolio companies. And if we do this the right way, there are a lot of firms out there that are beginning to start up, and that way we can be able to be that platform for every single one of those businesses that are beginning to start up now. From there, we want to offer tailored pricing solutions, be able to develop more and more case studies, and share our success stories with the world. And from there, be able to have targeted events, thought leadership, customer success, and supplier onboarding at the end of the day. And lastly, we have our team. Right now, my name's Ruth Jonah, and I'm currently the co-founder, and currently I'm going to NVIDIA this upcoming summer to go work on deep learning software, which I could hopefully use to leverage when it comes to working with our deep learning software for our upcoming platform. In addition, my co-founder, he also goes to school at Purdue, and he's looking into majoring in artificial intelligence and computer science there. And we have our mentor, Ms. Akins, here, and she's been a great source of help when it comes to going through this entire process. So check out our website at bloomtechnologies.app today and help us help you bloom your business. Thank you.
Now, everyone in this room has a full-time job or is a full-time student, right? Now imagine, out of nowhere, another full-time job was sprung on you. And the catch, you have no preparation, no choice, no pay, no time off, and the pressure immense because someone's life is quite literally in your hands. Not too appealing, right? But that's the truth of caregiving. My mom's decade-long experience as the primary caregiver for my grandma with schizophrenia has been an eye-opener. I've been able to witness up close and personal how emotionally and physically draining of a process this can be and how it negatively impacts your health. Caregivers face an overwhelming amount of stress and anxiety on an everyday basis. But this problem extends way beyond just my family. 1 in 5 Americans provide unpaid family care. They give out 17 billion hours and $600 billion in care every single year. Now, you would think that the problem is so extensive, so there has to be enough resources to help caregivers out. But the truth is that 84% caregivers feel that they could use more support and more resources about caregiving topics. And we wanted to understand the problem a bit better, so we went out and interviewed a bunch of caregivers, healthcare workers, social workers, and understood that caregivers have a lot of guilt around the problem. They just don't know whether they're making the right decision or not. And that's not it. We wanted to dig deeper, understand the problem a little bit better. And we found that there were 4 common pain points that would emerge across every single story. Caregivers struggle with time management because they're full-time jobs and then they're also giving care. They come in with no medical background. They experience a heavy burden of care and a lack of support with caregiving responsibilities. Now, the implications on caregiver health are pretty clear, right? But caregiver health has serious implications for patient health as well. Now, if the caregiver is in poor health, that translates to poor patient health. Research studies have shown that if the caregiver is providing poor quality of care, that means that the patient is twice more likely to be hospitalized. As such, my team and I have been researching and working on a solution that integrates both patient health as well as caregiver health so that we can improve outcomes with an end vision of producing a digital social worker. Introducing our solution, Cura. Cura is an AI-powered caregiving assistant designed to support family caregivers of mentally ill patients. Our app has 3 main features. First, a lifestyle tracker. We track important information like medications, appointments, sleep, food structure, patient behavior. And keeping track of all that information, our AI model is able to note upward trends, downward trends in all those behaviors and produce personalized health recommendations that the caregiver can then implement. And lastly, we have a resource directory that the caregiver can refer to whenever they have a question. All of this combined shows up on the homepage of the app, and the caregiver can refer to that every single day. Here's a demo. You can see on the homepage there's medications, appointments, personalized health recommendations, and let's say you wanted to update information, generate a new plan, focus on one certain aspect of patient health, you can input more information. Here, the caregiver inputs information about a new medication and updates information about sleep quality and gets a new plan. Now, not only that, let's say the caregiver had questions, we have structured our resources page in a way where you can easily navigate and find the answer you're looking for. And lastly, we also have a feature where you can add multiple family members to our apps if there's just more than one person caring for a patient. Now, we have made our app in a way that it mitigates every single pain point that our caregivers reported. For time management, they now have a simplified platform where they can manage all caregiving duties. They came in with no medical background, but now they have guided advice that they can rely on. They were experiencing heavy burden of care, but now they have reliable health plans that they can refer to. And lastly, they were experiencing a lack of support, but we mitigate that by providing them a dynamic platform that is accessible for help at any time and anywhere. Now, let's talk about how Cura stands out among competitors and alternatives in the market. Currently, caregivers primarily rely on either social workers or internet searches, or There's care companies also emerging in the market that are helping mitigate the burden of care. But where Cura is uniquely positioned is by incorporating positive elements of all these three entities. Like a social worker, we give you personalized information on a case-by-case basis. Like care companies, we provide you a digital platform where you can manage all your caregiving responsibilities. And lastly, like an internet search, we are quickly and readily accessible. But we wanted to go a step above that. We also took into account our caregivers' feedback on what is missing in the current alternatives, and as such, we have 3 more unique features. We are AI-enabled. What that means is you get readily accessible, personalized information. We are caregiver-centric. Unlike care companies in the market right now that focus on improving the relationship between a patient and a provider, we are focusing on the more important component, a caregiver. And lastly, we are mental illness focused. Now, it's obvious, with a mental illness, there's more care required, and it's a field that lacks more resources. So we are in a very unique position to disrupt the market. Now let's talk about our business model. We are employing a B2B2C model where we license our software to hospitals who then refer it to caregivers. Now, we are licensing it at a price of $200,000 to bigger hospitals and $12,000 to smaller clinics. The value we are adding for hospitals is cutting employee costs by providing them a digital social worker and also providing them a comprehensive report of all the patient data we keep track of. How that helps is now the doctor has more insights into the patient recovery, patient health, and now they're better equipped to take care of the patient. As for the hospitals referring our app to caregivers, we are giving it to caregivers at no cost. As such, caregivers have increased access to care, increased cost effectiveness, and better patient and caregiver health. In terms of the market opportunity, it's huge because currently, US is experiencing a huge lack of social workers. In fact, it's been forecasted that by 2030, there's going to be a very huge lack of social workers in the market, and therefore, we are uniquely positioned to enter that space. Not only that, currently, social workers are being employed by caregivers as the first option. But realistically, the caseload being managed by a social worker is huge. Now, if you look at the graph here, you will see the pink area represents the cases that go unmanaged, and that's the majority area. The blue is what they're able to realistically manage. So this just translates to how inefficient the services are currently, and therefore, there is a dire need for our product in the market currently. As for the market sizing, there's 6,000 hospitals in the US that can adapt this product and 50 attainable hospitals in Austin. Now, let's reflect on our progress so far. We started Cura in August 2022, and since then, we have made significant progress. We have built our app with our stakeholders and our users. We have interviewed 35 caregivers, 11 healthcare professionals, and 8 social workers. We have validated the problem, taken feedback, made iterations, and as such, we have built a product that will actually cater to the needs and the concerns of our users as well as our customers. Caregivers we've talked to have said how they wish they had something like Cura when they started caregiving. And the doctors we have worked with have said how Cura's framework is so good that it can potentially be applied to multiple facets of the healthcare system. Not only that, we have expanded to a team of 18 members, which includes 10 members at product, 10 members for tech, and a few members for design as well. We have raised $3,600 in non-dilutive funding and conducted 2 successful proof of concept tests. Our final working prototype will be out by this May. In terms of our next steps, we are looking at training our ML model, running pilots with caregivers and hospitals, expanding our core team, and setting up legal foundations. We are seeking funding so that we can get custom data to train our ML model, we can set up our tech infrastructure better, and also get legal consultation. Now, lastly, I want to talk about Cura's mission. Our mission is to preserve all the love and the smiles that often get lost in the process of caregiving and mitigate all the stress that comes with it. Cura, caring for our caregivers.
All right, folks, now the moment you've been waiting for, the award ceremony. But since I have your attention, I'm going to first do some important things. First, can we have a round of applause for our 40 Acres founders, these 20 students? At the university, we are deeply committed to our students, and we talk about what starts here changes the world. And we have sort of hijacked that into a tagline that says, what starts up here changes the world. So I've worked with these students for the last semester, seeing them come in with the ideas and do all the hard work it takes to go from an idea to product market fit and thinking about your business model. It impresses me what they've been able to do in this short period of time. I'm inspired by their dedication, their passion, their desire to make a difference. And I'm awed by what they're able to do despite when they introduce themselves. They carry, on average, 2 majors, I think. And I don't know how many minors. So luckily, they're not out drinking and partying, I am sure. Yeah, no nervous laughter required from you guys. So it's been wonderful to see the growth, and I hope that you saw that on stage today. I'm very, very proud of them, and I'm really, really delighted that I could be part of the semester here. Before I announce the winners, there's certain people I need to thank beyond the student founders. I'd like to repeat Melissa's and thanks to our mentors. What we do is there were 70-something students who applied to be in this program. We selected the top 20, and each student got a mentor from the community. They got a graduate assistant who worked for them to develop their product and their product market fit over the semester. Then, in addition to that, if they were in a named endowed seat, they got a second mentor or connection to the donor. And then in class, they had weekly sessions where we discussed concepts. We brought in outside speakers who discussed how it's lived in real life, or as I like to call it, in real IRL. Long story, but there is a story. And then they go and apply it and submit their updates on what they've done. And it's been really nice to see this progression. But all of these folks make a huge difference. I want to thank the graduate assistants, the mentors, the guest speakers, some of whom came from out of town just to speak to the class, and the donors who endowed these seats. Can we have a round of applause for those folks? At every pitch competition, I say the same thing to judges. I say, I hope that they make your life difficult in terms of picking a winner. And you sure did today. So I'm very happy that you put them in that spot. But I want to thank the judges for giving us their time, their expertise, their dedication to student entrepreneurship here. I really appreciate everything you do for the university, and thank you for being here today. And my main job is sort of making speeches and that kind of thing, and handing out big checks. So I knew I'd eventually get to a position where my tasks would suit my talents. However, the folks in the background who make this all happen is a phenomenal team at the Herb Kelleher Entrepreneurship Center. I'm truly delighted to be working with them, and I'd like to mention Ali Arnold, Melissa Jackson Burns, Ingrid Powell, and the many student staff members, including the one who did a phenomenal job of keeping time and keeping everybody on track. All right, now to hand out big checks. By the way, these are not cashable. We'll be sending you actual checks, but just for fun, I would like you to do a TikTok where you try to go and deposit this. This would be fun. So I'll start off with the winner of the Elevator Pitch Audience Choice Award, and that winner is Patty Chow. All right. Next, the Elevator Pitch Competition winner is Daniel Kim. Now to the 4 finalists. The finalist for Audience Choice Award goes to Akriti Kamal from Cura. And now I'll announce the winners of the pitch competition, starting with 4th place. The way we're going to do this is the following. I'll announce the winner, they'll come up, they'll receive their big check, we'll get a picture, and then one of the judges will give you some feedback using their mics near them. So the 4th place is Brandon Doan with EEG. And the feedback is going to be provided by Jim McCullough. All right, the feedback for the 3rd place winner will be given by Judge Lamar Houston. And that 3rd place goes to Bobo and Philip Beck. Next, we're going to announce the 1st place winner, and the feedback for this place will be provided by Judge Nick Arab. And the winner of the 5th annual 40 Acres Founders Pitch Competition is Akriti Kamal at Cura. Which means 2nd place, and for this place, the feedback will be provided by Judge Hema Reddy, and the 2nd place goes to Rutvik Jona with Bloom. So before we break up the party here, I'd like to request all the 40 Acres founders to stay back so we could get a group picture of the class. And then after that, and all the judges to stay back as well for pictures. And then the rest of you there's the refreshments outside. We have a reception for the next hour. Please stick around. And then after the reception, all the founders, all the mentors to the founders, and the judges are invited to a dinner reception at 6 o'clock in a different room. So with that, thank you all for coming. Your support means a lot to the students who are pitching here today. At UT, remember, what starts up here changes the world, so go change the world. Thank you all.